So good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, as you know, this month in February, we've been talking a lot about love, right? But not the romantic type of Valentine's Day love. We've been talking more about the divine love, the love of God, the love of the divine, the love that is always, always here for us. It's always there to support us. And we've pulled apart the word love to explore living in light and laughter. We did that the first week. The second week, we got tongue twisters, omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscient. And then last week, we did vision and vitality. And today, we're doing enlightened enthusiasm. So, according to David Hawkins, yes?
Quick question. When do you update the audio on the site?
Yesterday. They're all three of them are up there. All three from this month. I know I got a little bit behind. So they're all up to date. The website is up to date with all of this month. So, and this one will go on quickly too. So, David Hawkins. We all know David Hawkins. Power versus force. And he says that love is a high vibration, but joy is an even higher vibration. Well, enlightened enthusiasm allows us to embrace and express that joy. So today, we're going to explore the keys of creating a life of enlightened enthusiasm. So, according to the spiritually enlightened master and a yogi. So, here are some words from a very powerful yogi. He said, "Love is the most important thing in the world." But baseball is pretty good too. So you might have guessed it. This is from Yogi Berra. Yes, it's going to be that kind of talk. Love is the most important thing in the world. But baseball is pretty good too. Yogi Berra, right? Okay, humor and enthusiasm, they go together pretty well, right? So we'll be hearing more about the yogi and from the yogi later on. But right now, I want you to help me get the vibration going, okay? So, this side of the room, from Thelma to the left, they're going to say enlightened, and this side of the room is going to say enthusiasm. So let's do that.
Enlightened enthusiasm.
Enlightened enthusiasm. Enlightened enthusiasm.
Enlightened
enthusiasm. All right. We feel the energy? Do you feel like rising up? Okay.
Yeah.
So now we can feel Charles Fillmore's words that I quoted last week, or was it the week before? I fairly sizzle with joy and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do all things that ought to be done by me.
Yes. I fairly sizzle with zeal.
I fairly sizzle
with zeal and enthusiasm.
with joy and enthusiasm. You can say zeal. Yeah. Zeal and enthusiasm, with joy and enthusiasm, spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. So I always look forward to the meaning of words, and enthusiasm, according to Webster, means ardent zeal or interest, fervor, divine inspiration or possession. Let me say that again. Enthusiasm, according to Webster, ardent zeal, zeal or interest, fervor, divine inspiration, or possession. And according to Fillmore, in the Revealing Word, a dictionary of metaphysical terms, enthusiasm is a powerful expression of a living interest. It is active and vital. Enthusiasm is another word for zeal, and zeal is a great stimulator. You cannot think of or repeat the word zeal without evoking a certain mental thrill that spurs you to action in some direction. Don't you love that? Oh, gosh. Zeal. There we go. And you were saying it before the rest of us, or so I also like to look at the etymology or the origins of words, because I'm just that kind of a nerd, okay? But enthusiasm comes from en and theos, meaning God within or God inspired. And let's expand that a bit for our purpose this morning. Inspired by God's love within. Inspired by God's love within. So according to Webster, to enlighten is to give spiritual insight to. The revealing words doesn't reveal the meaning of enlightenment, but In Power versus Force, Hawkins shares that enlightenment is the highest level of vibration, the highest level of consciousness. It's higher than love, higher than joy, and higher than peace. Spiritually, enlightenment means to fully awaken, and for our purposes, again, this morning, let's say it is to fully awaken to God's love. Fully awaken to God's love. And of course, there's no greater story of the one who is fully awake than the story of Siddhartha Gautama.
Who?
Siddhartha Gautama. Buddha. A child born into the royal family of a small kingdom in the Indian Nepalese border of more than 2,500 years ago. His father he held a naming ceremony on the 5th day after his birth and invited 8 Brahmin scholars to read the future. All gave the dual prediction that the baby would either become a great king or a great holy man. One of the two. According to the traditional story, his father chose to bring him up completely cloistered so he would not see all of the suffering in the world outside of the palace and have compassion stir in his heart, which then might lead him to the destiny of being a holy man. His father wanted him to be a great king. One day, however, curiosity got the best of young Siddhartha. He wanted to see the world beyond the palace walls, so he snuck out. There he saw the harsh facts of life: old age, poverty, sickness, and death. Shortly after that experience, he left home to follow the traditional Indian path of the wandering holy man, a seeker of truth. He practiced meditation under various teachers and then took to asceticism. Asceticism. Yes.
Oh, ascetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an ascetic.
Asceticism. Eventually, he practiced austerities so severe that he was on the point of death. But true understanding seemed far away as ever. He decided to abandon this path and to look into his own heart and mind. He sat beneath the Bodhi tree, and he vowed that flesh may wither, blood may dry up, but I shall not rise from this spot until enlightenment has been won. Now that's dedication. We all know what happens, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. After 40 days, Siddhartha Gautama finally attained enlightenment. He awakened, and from that moment on, he was called the Buddha, the one who is awake.
Yeah, okay.
Think about it for a moment. The power of the words, enlightened enthusiasm. To be inspired by and awakened by God's love within. When we say it that way, we surely will spring forth with a mighty faith to do things that ought to be done by us. Wouldn't you say? Spring forth. Do those things that ought to be done by us. And if not us, then who? Right? Taking a page from the Buddha's playbook, here are 3 ways to boost up our enlightened enthusiasm. The first one will come as no surprise. What do you think the first thing we need to do is? Meditate. Meditate. Be still. Take 15 minutes or 5 minutes. I mean, I think sometimes people get stuck with, times, or that you have to do it a certain way, or standing on one foot and, no. Sit quietly. Whatever's comfortable for you. Find out an area where you can become quiet. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, longer, if that's what suits you. Of course, Thelma's been doing this for years and years and years. She knew this, right? But quiet your mind and touch in with the essence of who you are. And that's what the Buddha did. This will help you to become enlightened and awakened to who you really are. Scientific studies have shown that meditation is of practical and measurable benefit to your mind and body. There was a study that appeared in an online edition of the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science some time ago, in which the researchers compared the brain activity of 8 longtime Buddhist monks and 10 healthy students. The average age of the monks was 49, and each had undergone mental training in meditation for 10,000 to 50,000 hours over the course of 15 to 40 years. Wow, now that's dedication. The students' average age was 21. They had no prior experience in meditation and received a 1-week training in meditative training before they started the study. Both the groups were asked to practice compassionate meditation, which does not require concentration on specific things. Instead, the participants were instructed to generate a feeling of love and compassion without drawing attention to a particular object. The researchers measured brain activity before, during, and after meditation using electroencephalograms. They found striking differences between the two groups in a type of brain activity called gamma wave activity, which is involved in mental processes including attention, working memory, learning, and conscious perception. The Buddhist monks had a higher level of this sort of gamma wave activity before they began the meditation. And this difference increased dramatically during meditation. In fact, the researchers say that the extremely high levels of gamma wave activity were the highest ever reported. The monks also had more activity in areas associated with positive emotions such as happiness. Researchers say that the fact that the monks had higher levels of this type of brain activity before meditation began suggests that long-term practice of Buddhist or other forms of meditation may alter the brain. Although age differences may account for some of the differences found in this study, researchers say that the hours of meditation practice rather than the age significantly predicted the gamma wave activity. So I find that very significant.
Their brains were bigger too.
Most likely. I have read that brains of adolescents do not finish growing until about 25 to 27 or something like that, which explains a lot of the silliness that goes on, but that's a whole nother story. So number 2, give up your resistance. Give up your resistance. Give up your resistance to that which you do not want. It's our resistance to that which we say we don't want that causes our suffering. And that's a word, obviously, from the Buddhism faith. So a beautiful Buddhist practice is to give up resistance. And it's easier said than done, right? You say, it's not that easy to do, but it's so powerful when we do, when we're able to give up our resistance. I love the words from Diane Harmony in her book, 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life, which is another book we might want to consider doing. She says, when we let go and let God, we are in the midst of a spiritual practice so powerful that the core beliefs that have held us captive and small can be dismantled, and resistance to our good can melt away. Fear of the unknown can be shattered, a sense of oneness with God and all life can be embodied, and a whole new world of infinite possibilities can open up for us. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. Giving up resistance to what we don't want can occur on a moment-to-moment basis. Mm-hmm. When we choose to look for the good and in all ways and focus on it, because as the Buddhists and many others have said, you become what you think. Make peace with where you are right here and right now. Say that with me. I accept the here and now.
Accept the here and now.
Here and now.
Here and now.
Let's take it a step further. I'm excited about the here and now.
I'm excited about the here and now.
Here and now.
Here and now.
In fact, I'm enthusiastic about the here and now.
I'm enthusiastic about the here and now.
Here and now. Okay, and then open your eyes to all that is good and glorious and wonderful in your life right now. What we focus on, we attract more of, right? That moves you energetically. Remember, enlightenment is the highest vibration that there is to the place where you want to go. Give up resistance to that which you do not want. And do it by bringing enlightened enthusiasm to the here and now. It's a way for you to open up to delightful, universal surprises. Who doesn't like surprises? Who's not ready for
Positive surprises.
Positive, delightful, positive, universal surprises.
Delightful surprises.
Right. So once Yogi Berra, his wife, Carmen, asked Yogi, you are from St. Louis, but we live in New Jersey, and you played ball in New York. If you go before I do, where would you like me to have you buried? And Yogi replied, surprise me. Well, maybe we don't want surprises quite like that, but you know what I mean. We're open to those positive, universal, fabulous surprises. So on to number 3. Realize that the universe is there for you 24/7. It doesn't sleep. God never sleeps. It doesn't say, be back in an hour after lunch. It's there for you 24/7. Finally, it's important to realize that it is there 100% of the time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Simply state, the universe always has my back. The universe always has my back. God always has my back. God always has my back.
So does Rich.
And so does Rich. Okay, that's not very poetic or flowery, but it's the truth. When you open yourself up to the love of God, you are unlimited in who you are and what you can do. The Buddha touched the ground and proclaimed that the earth was defending and supporting him. And you can do this too. Simply turn your heart and mind to the idea that the love of God is everywhere and always available to you. Always. So, love yourself. Love yourself enough to do these 3 simple things. And not only I, but the universe will guarantee that you will be filled with enlightened enthusiasm. Emerson wrote in Emerson's essays, Circles, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Life is short. If there was ever a moment to achieve great things by doing something that matters to you, that moment is now. That moment is now. So we're going to chant that. We're going to chant 3 times. Okay, we're going to do the enlightened enthusiasm again. Enlightened enthusiasm. Okay, we're going to do it 3 times. So, enlightened enthusiasm. Enlightened enthusiasm. Enlightened enthusiasm. All right. I love that. And as Yogi Berra said, I just want to thank everyone who made this day necessary. And so it is.